तिमरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Welcome again, dear devotees, and is somebody going to tell us what are we going to do today? Complete silence. What happened? Nobody wants to make a guess? What words we are going to read? Oh, Varshana Mataji is speaking on mute. You are on mute, Varshana Mataji. Have I unmute? Have I put that people can't unmute or something like that? Let me check and see. Oh, no. Oh, that is the reason. So sorry. Okay, now go ahead.
724, Mataji.
724 for 500 points. Okay.
She was saying that I said, Vasana Mataji, you're muted. But I am also muted.
We were
She
trying to
cannot
get
hear
your
me.
attention on the screen to say that you have
Yes.
muted us.
And Mataji, I could not say that Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah,
Please you.
I also couldn't say because I was muted.
How bad it feels.
Muted by host, that's why I said. Unless you really
Oh.
you cannot.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Sonal
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Komala Mataji, Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
I
Hare
was trying to do
Krishna.
this to you. Did
Simi
you see?
Mataji. That's all. We were
Okay.
saying like this.
All right, so we had some fun, right? You want to have more fun reading the Bhagavad-gita?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, that's good. So let's get started. 7.24 is what Varshana Mataji told us to do today. So that's what we will do. Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mama buddhaya.
Right there.
Okay, if you are in a noisy environment, please mute yourself. Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mama buddhaya param bhavam ajananto mama avyayam anuttamam. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayah param bhavam ajananto mama avyayam anuttamam. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavam ajananto mama vyayam anuttamam. What do you think abuddhaya would mean?
Without buddhi.
Without buddhi, right. Avyaktam means non-manifested. Vyaktim means personality. Apannam means achieved. Manyante means think. Mam, me. Abuddhaya, less intelligent persons. Param, supreme. Bhavam, existence. Ajanantaha, without knowing. Mama, my. Avyayam, imperishable. Anuttamam, the finest. Finest and the best. Translation: unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. The best, right? On the top, it's translated as finest, right? So supreme is what Prabhupada is explaining in the translation. So continuing on with the purports by Srila Prabhupada. Those who are worshippers of demigods have been described as less intelligent persons. And here the impersonalists are similarly described. So where did Krishna describe demigods as less intelligent?
In the last shloka
Last
also,
verse.
Mataji.
Yeah,
said
in the
that,
last
right?
verse.
Yeah. So Lord Krishna in his personal form is here speaking before Arjuna, and still due to ignorance, impersonalists argue that Supreme Lord ultimately has no form. Yāmunācārya, a great devotee of the Lord in the disciplic succession of Ramanacārya, has written a very appropriate verse in this connection. He says, Tvam Shīla Rupa Charite Paramam Prakrishtai Satvena Satvikataya Prabhalaischa Shastrai Prakhayata Deva Paramartha Vidam Matescha Nevasura Prakitaya Prabhavanti Buddham. My dear Lord, devotees like Vyasadev and Narada know you to be the personality of Godhead. By understanding different Vedic literatures, one can come to know your characteristics, your form, and your activities. And when one can thus understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance, the demons and the non-devotees, cannot understand you. They are unable to understand you. However expert such non-devotees may be in discussing Vedanta and the Upanishads and other Vedic literatures, it is not possible for them to understand the personality of Godhead. Stotra Ratna number 12. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the personality of Godhead cannot be understood simply by study of the Vedanta's literature. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord can the personality of the Supreme be known. Therefore, in this verse, it's clearly stated that not only are the worshippers of the demigods less intelligent, but those non-devotees who are engaged in Vedanta and speculation on Vedic literature without any tinge of true Krishna consciousness are also less intelligent, and for them it is not possible to understand God's personal nature. Persons who are under the impression that the absolute truth is impersonal are described as abuddhayaha, which means those who do not know the ultimate feature of the absolute truth. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that supreme realization begins from the impersonal Brahman and then rises to the localized supersoul, but the ultimate word on the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead. Modern impersonalists are still less intelligent, for they do not even follow the great predecessor Shankaracharya, who has specifically stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonalists, therefore, are not knowing the Supreme Truth. Think Krishna to be only the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, or a prince, or a powerful living entity. This is also condemned in the Bhagavad-gita 9:11, avajananti mamura manushim tanumashritam. Only the fools regard me as an ordinary person. The fact is that no one can understand Krishna without rendering devotional service and without developing Krishna consciousness. In the Bhagavatam 10:14-29, the Bhagavatam 10:14-29 confirms this. Athapi te dev padambhuja dvaya prasadaleshanugrihita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno nachanyameko pichiram vichinna. My Lord, if one is favored even by a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. One cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, or his form, quality, or name simply by mental speculation or by discussing Vedic literature. One must understand him by devotional service. When one is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, beginning by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then only can one understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Non-devotee impersonalists think that Krishna has a body made of this material nature and that all his activities, his form, and everything are Maya. These impersonalists are known as Mayavadis. They do not know the ultimate truth. The 20th verse clearly states, Kamesteste Hritagyana prapadante anya devataha. Those who are blinded by the lusty desires surrender unto the different demigods. It is accepted that besides the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are demigods who have their different planets, and the Lord also has a planet. As stated in the 23rd verse, Devan Deva Yato Yanti, Mad Bhakta Yanti Mamapi. The worshippers of the demigods go to different planets of the demigods, and those who are devotees of Lord Krishna go to the Krishna Lok planet. Although this is clearly stated, the foolish impersonalists still maintain that Lord is formless and that these forms are impersonal, impositions. From the study of the Gita, does it appear that the demigods and their abodes are impersonal? Clearly, neither the demigods nor Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are impersonal. They are all persons. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has his own planet, and the demigods have theirs. Therefore, the monistic contention that ultimate truth is formless and that form is imposed does not hold true. It is clearly stated here that it is not imposed. From the Bhagavad-gita, we can clearly understand that the forms of the demigods and the form of the Supreme Lord are simultaneously existing, and that Lord Krishna is Satchidananda, eternal, blissful knowledge. The Vedic literature confirms that the supreme absolute truth is knowledge and bliss, pleasure. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, Brihad Aranakya Upanishad. Upanishad 3.9.28. And that he is the reservoir of unlimited auspicious qualities, Ananta Kalyana Gunatmako Sao. Vishnu Puran 6.5.84. And in the Gita, the Lord says that although he is Aja, unborn, he still appears. These are the facts that we should understand from the Bhagavad Gita. We cannot understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be impersonal. The imposition theory of the impersonalist monist is false as far as the statements of the Gita are concerned. It's clear herein that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Lord Krishna, has both form and personality. Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mam abuddhayaha param bhavam ajananto mama avyayam anuttamam. Okay, that was a really long purport. So let's get into some discussions. What was you heard so far? And anything that stuck out to you?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
I
Krishna.
joined in the middle while you were reading, but what I heard was that Mayavadis still think God is impersonal, whereas he is personal very much, and he has his own planet and we can reach him.
Right, right. Good, good. Anything else? Anything else? Anybody else heard from this verse?
I think we can only understand Krishna if we perform devotional service.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't, and then we cannot, if we don't develop Krishna consciousness, there's no way that we can understand Krishna.
True. And then here he's talking unintelligent. Who are you calling unintelligent?
The less intelligent.
Those who worship demigods.
Say that again.
Those who
Those
worship.
who worship demigods are less intelligent and
From today's verse? From today's verse, who are less intelligent?
The Abuddhaya.
Yeah, who is above there? Read the translation, you'll get it.
Yeah, so unintelligent men
those
who
who
do
are in
not
mode
know.
of passion and
Are
ignorance.
not
One at a time, let us speak.
those who do not know
Are in-
Krishna perfectly.
From today's verse, what does today's verse say? Does somebody have a book in front of them?
Yes.
Who all
Those
have a
who
book?
are in mode of passion and ignorance.
Who have the book in front of them?
All me, I have it.
I have it.
You have it?
Oh.
Okay.
I have.
What others? You're coming to class without book? We are in book distribution. Come and buy a Bhagavad-gita from me. Yeah, so from today's verse, what is today's verse talking about? Who are unintelligent?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Unintelligent people are those who still understand that Krishna is impersonal and he has no personality, and that is why they are known as unintelligent.
There you go,
Abuddhya.
right? Prabhupada has stated that bang in front of us, right? So if you
Yeah.
remember in the earlier verses of Bhagavad-gita, we heard Bahunam Janvam Antejnanvam Papadete Vasudeva Sarvamati
Sarvamati
Durlabha, right? And so there are others who do not surrender to Krishna, right?
Mm.
When if a person doesn't surrender to Krishna, there are two types who don't surrender to Krishna, right? One type is that they surrender to demigods, right? And so
Thinking that the demigods are arms and limbs of Krishna, so if they worship demigods, they will be those.
No. That is interpretation, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the two types is they are not surrendered to Krishna. They'll go to demigods.
Mm.
Indirectly, they are surrendered to Krishna, that's a different thing, but they are not surrendered to Krishna because they don't go to Krishna, right? Yeah, thinking that they are parts and then I'm going there is a devotee thinking. That person is already surrendered to Krishna. Now he's thinking of Krishna and his expansions like that, right? But those who just go to demigods, they don't even think about Krishna. They always like, look at this Bhagavad-gita. In Bhagavad-gita, you read in chapter 7.23 that those are 22-23 that those who are surrendering to other demigods actually they are, inadequately or in an improper way, they are approaching me, but I give them everything. So then they are saying that Krishna is so magnanimous, right? So Krishna is allowing you to go and worship other demigods. So it's okay, according to Bhagavad-gita, it is okay to go to other demigods. And Krishna is stating a fact that yes, even if they go to demigods, at least, they go to demigod, they follow the Vedas in some way or the other, and they'll be purified in the end, right? So it is okay to do that. But then those people turn around and say, what is problem with you, Hare Krishnas? Why can't you also worship the demigods? It comes back, right? Like that. Why? What's wrong? Why are you hell-bent and a fanatic to that extent? Right? They just turn around and say that. So it is not about being fanatic. It's about knowing the truth and then standing by it. When you know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why should I settle down for anything less? Right? So I will not do that. Okay? So
Hare Krishna, I'm sorry to interrupt in between, but Mataji, many people call us fanatics.
Cult. They call us a cult.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, that they will say that what is wrong with you, right? In Bhagavad-gita, he's saying, yeah. Even if you worship demigods, I mean, the fruits are bestowed by me alone. That's what Krishna said. So it's okay. It's okay for us. So it's okay. Krishna said it is okay. So then what is wrong with you that you say, I will only go to Krishna? You are a fanatic, right? So I'm saying that this is not being fanatic. This is knowing the truth and knowing the higher thing. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasvarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So we have seen a higher taste in worshipping Krishna. So I will not settle for anything less. Why should I? Right? So it is not being fanatic. So we have to keep that in mind. Fanatic will, go for something even lesser and then be fanatic about it. Like that. You see, like a person might say plain water is good enough for me, and somebody fanatic might say, no, Coca-Cola is your bottle of happiness. As Rajashika Prabhu says, right? So he's talking about those who don't surrender. So that's about those who don't surrender. There are two types. One type of those who don't surrender to Krishna are the ones who go and surrender to demigods, right? And so that Krishna says they are unintelligent. And here today he's talking about the other variety of people who will not surrender to Krishna. Why will they not surrender to Krishna? There's the personality of God. They are just saying that he is. What does the today's verse say?
He is impersonal.
He's
Krishna
impersonal,
is impersonal.
Right? He is impersonal. So this is very deep rooted. What is akar and nirakar, right? Personal and impersonal. And so there can be a lot of debate on whether he's this or whether he's that. But if you're referring to the scriptures, okay, what is Krishna calling these people?
Impersonalists.
What is Krishna calling them?
Unintelligent.
Unintelligent. Exactly. Right? So they are also unintelligent. And who are the intelligent? Those who surrender to Krishna. And that is why bhakti is called buddhi yoga, because that is the right use of your intelligence. You can use your intelligence in reciting the Vedas. You can use your intelligence in studying the Vedanta, the Upanishads, and all those books. You can do that, right? So when it comes to not having a form of the Lord, again, there are two types of people who will think that the Lord does not have a form. Okay? So one is that, okay, I understand that there is God. Okay? I have this concept of God. It's just that I think that the God does not have a form. I have God. I know about God. I might even worship God, but as a formless entity.
The monists.
No, not the monist. These are the impersonalists.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a difference, right? And I'll explain the differences today. So those are the ones who are saying God doesn't have a form. Okay, but he's God. Who is he? A light. God is some light, right? Like that. But to them, that light is God. Right? And they will live a very virtuous life. They may even pray to the Lord. and meditate on something formless. How you do that is a very different thing, but they will do it, right? So in the Bhagavatam, second canto, Divinity and Divine Service, verse number 11 says that, what does it say? Vadanti tattu tattvavidas satyam yad brahm advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. So they say that those who have vadanti tattu tattvavidas, those who have known the truth, experienced people, those who have known the truth, right? They say that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be experienced in three ways: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagwan. So they're still talking about the Supreme. The Supreme can be understood or experienced in three ways. Brahmeti is as his effulgence, the light that comes from Krishna, that effulgence. You can think that to be God because it is transcendental. Okay? The second is Paramatmeti, Paramatma. Who is Paramatma?
Narayan, the one who stays in our heart.
Is he called Narayan?
No, Mataji, Kshirodakshay Vishnu.
Kshirodakshay Vishnu, right? Yeah, so Paramatma or Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So you can recognize and realize God as that. And then third is
Bhagwan.
Bhagavan. Okay, so Bhagwan. Okay, so now, so the first type, Brahman, who understand Brahman, Brahmeti, Brahman, they are known as Brahmanandis. Okay, Brahmanandis. Why? Because they got the Anand out of Brahman. They get Anand. Brahmabhutas prasannatma na shochati na
Nakangshati sarvasameshu
Nama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti. Right? So after you do that, then you will go to the next stage. That's one way. Brahmeti paramatmeti. Right? So you go to Brahman. Okay, so impersonal it is there. Now, those who are degraded, they say that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or not Supreme Personality, there's no personality in their explanation. The Supreme is actually impersonal, doesn't have a personality, and is not different from you. You are also the Supreme Lord. So there is no duality, there is no difference between the soul and God. They are one and the same thing. Such people are called Advaitavadis, or in English, monists. They think there is only one.
Mother, can you say it once again? Advaitam.
Advaita.
Means monist, the definition of monist.
Yeah, who think that soul and God are one and the same.
And the same, okay.
Right? So those people are called Advaitvadis, right? And in stark opposition and also monist in English. And in stark opposition to that will be the Dvaitvadis. So Advait means no difference, no two, only one. Dvaitvadis will say that there are two. There is a soul, and then there is a super soul, and there is difference between the two very different, things or entities. That is called Dvaitvad. So there's Advaitvad and there is Dvaitvad. Some people follow Dvaitvad. They think soul and God are different. Some people say they are the same, and they can fight a whole life right on that. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and explained the concept of Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva, where he said that the soul is simultaneously one with the Lord and simultaneously different from the Lord. Right? How is it same with the Lord? It's same with the Lord in its qualities. How is it different from the Lord? It's different from the Lord in quantity. Lord is big, we are minute. Lord is infinitesimal. Lord is infinite and we are infinitesimal, right? Like you get decimal if you divide something by 10. If you divide something by 100, you get centesimal, like that. So this is infinitesimal, means we are divided by infinities, are so tiny and then we are so small. Okay, so in today's verse, he is talking about those who are saying that, you know, the God first is actually an energy, and now he has taken a form. Now, how does God take form? If he didn't have a form, how does it? So how do they explain this thing? That how does God take a form? Right? So they say that when this so-called energy comes in contact with the modes of material nature. What are the modes of material nature?
Goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Right?
Ignorance.
So it says that when this formless God comes in touch with the material mode of goodness, he becomes Bhagwan. Okay? This means Bhagwan is material because you got touched by material. Right? So Bhagwan is material. And when this Bhagwan, this impersonal thing, when it gets in touch with the mode of passion, rajas, then it gets converted into the jiva souls. Okay? And when it gets in touch with the mode of ignorance, it becomes dull matter. Okay? So the three, there is the God. Bhagwan is created from energy. When that energy comes in touch with the material mode of goodness. So as a result of that, you will get something material. And that is Bhagwan. When it gets in touch with the mode of passion, you'll get something immaterial, which is the soul. Okay? That is what their thinking is as to how they get created. Right? Now, does Krishna talk about modes of material nature in 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita? Does he talk about that? Open your books and tell me. Does he say anything anywhere? Chapter 7 about modes of material nature. You want to search? Okay. 7.12 in Bhagavad Gita says, Ye chaiva satvika bhava, rajasas tamasascha ye, matta eveti tan vidhi, natvam aham teshu te mai. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
Even 13 and 14 also speak about this.
Yes, what does 13 say? Continue. It goes on to a couple of verses. Yeah.
Yes, 12, 13, and 14. All three say that these three modes are manifested by him, but he is independent. He is above the modes of nature.
Right,
he
right.
Is above the modes of nature and inexhaustible. It is difficult to overcome these three modes, but those who surrender can easily cross over beyond them.
Exactly. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Right? So in these verses,
one question comes, Motherly, when you explain this. When it comes in contact with the goodness, material, goodness, that isn't that Jiva? Krishna gets in touch with Jiva. And
no. What I was saying was that these impersonalists have this philosophy which is faulty. And their faulty philosophy is that Krishna is impersonal, and when he comes in touch with the mode of goodness, material mode of goodness, he becomes Bhagwan. That you see, Krishna, 5,000 years ago, that Krishna that came was actually an impersonalist, and that impersonal personality came in touch with the material mode of goodness and became that, which means that that particular Krishna that you saw was a material thing. Similarly, all the Jiva souls are also material, because when that's supreme impersonal entity comes in touch with the mode of passion, material mode of passion, then jivas are born. Similarly, mode of ignorance, then this whole prakriti is born.
Okay.
Dull matter, right? That is what their philosophy is, right? And I'm just trying to prove that this philosophy is wrong, because just few verses ago, Krishna said that I am aloof from this energy. Nothing happens to me. Mam eva ye prapadyante. I am, if people surrender to me, I will help you cross this. And on the other hand, he had said, Daivi yesha gunamami mama maya duratya. It's very difficult to overcome Maya, this material world. But if you surrender to me, then I will help you cross. This means who's superior, Maya or Krishna?
Krishna.
Right? Yeah. So that's why when people come and say that the soul and the Lord are one and the same thing, that is not true. Because their explanation is that we are also Krishna, we are also parts of Krishna. Right? And it's all about merging back into him. Right? So we just merge back into him. And so why, if I am God, then why am I suffering? Why do I suffer so much, right? If I was God, all-powerful, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, yat kincha jagat yam jagat. He says, I'm the controller of everything. So if I am God, then I'm a controller of everything. I can't even control my biological impulses, right? So what kind of a controller am I? Right? So then they say, oh, no. Actually, I am under the control, under the influence of Maya. I'm thinking like that. I'm actually a lion, but under the influence of Maya, I'm thinking I am a rat. Like that. That is how their philosophy goes. So because they think that God can be controlled, this means that Maya is more superior than Lord, right? Then by definition, the one who's the most powerful is God, then Maya is God, right? Because God could come under the control of Maya. Why should you even go to worship God, right? So that is why they are called Mayavadis, because they're thinking I am also God. So there is a difference between Brahmanandis and Mayavadis. Brahmanandis are still thinking of God. They are still thinking that they are separate from God. They are soul and God is superior. They just think that God doesn't have a personality. Mayavadis, on the other hand, say God doesn't have a personality, but I am also God. That is where the problem is, the bigger problem. Okay? So then one may ask this question, that if effulgence of the Lord is also a manifestation of the Lord, right? Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdate. So if the effulgence of the Lord is also fine, then why should I not become a Brahmanandi? Why do I have to go through this particular process of whatever that I am doing here, right? And incidentally, even the Mayavadis will take you to this process of, going and then merging. So they just say that, we were different from the Lord. We have been separated. Now, if we hear Krishna in Bhagavad-gita chapter 2, what does Krishna say about the soul? Soul cannot be cut into pieces. But here, from this Mayavadi concept, it looks like Krishna was cut into pieces. And all these souls were distributed over the universe. And now it's all a matter of going back and merging into the Supreme Personality of God, into the Supreme Lord, right? You go back and you merge, right? So now, very interesting thing. And this whole personality, the whole personality is so very confusing, right? For example, in Mayavad also there are gurus, right? There are Mayavadi gurus who will teach you Mayavad. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So, who is a guru? Tadvidi paripatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshyanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. The one who has seen the truth, right? One who has seen the truth will be able to tell you about that truth. Okay? So, these Mayavadi gurus, what is the truth for them? What is the ultimate thing for a Mayavad? What is the ultimate goal for a Mayavad? Mayavadi?
He thinks that I am the Supreme. I am also God. You are
I'm also God. So, but here the problem is that he's also God, but he's suffering. So, what is the ultimate goal for him? What does a Mayavadi ultimately want to?
Krishna.
Hmm?
Ultimately moves to Krishna.
No. What is his goal? What are the goals that a Mayavadi sets? Goal and destination and destiny are different things. If one is a Mayavadi, what do you think a Mayavadi will be aiming for in life?
Material desires and wealth.
What will be his spiritual aim?
to become the Supreme.
Yes, to become the Supreme, because he knows that he is Supreme. Somehow or the other, he's been left aside. All that he wants to do is to go and be fused or merged with the Lord, go back. And that's it. That's the destination. To come to a realization, and not just an understanding, but a realization that I am God. Right? There's a difference between understanding and realizing. Ganina tattva darshana. Realization is tattva darshana, when you have realized it.
But Mataji, we cannot merge into Krishna, no, Mataji.
I'm talking about Mayavadis here.
Mayavadis only, yes.
Right? So what is that question was, what is the ultimate goal of Mayavadi? The ultimate goal of Mayavadi is to fuse into the Lord. Okay? Now, if that is your goal and destination, you'll need a teacher along the way. Okay? So if you need a teacher along the way, now suppose you want to learn how to knit something. You want to knit a sweater. And you go to a teacher. Do you think the teacher should know how to knit?
Only.
Right. Right? The teacher should know how to knit. Then only the teacher can teach you. Okay? So, if you are a Mayavadi and you want to merge in God and you want a teacher, what should the teacher know?
Mataji, repeat your question again.
If you are a Mayavadi, your ultimate goal in life is to merge or fuse into the Lord, and you want to get a teacher, what should the teacher know?
How to become Supreme Lord?
Yes, the teacher should know how to merge into the Lord, right? And you can teach him how to merge into the Lord only if you have merged into the Lord, right?
And if he merges into the Lord, how will he teach?
Yes. And that is the flawed philosophy. If he's merged into the Lord, what he came out then? You should have just gone there, stayed there, right? So their philosophy is, yeah, faulty. That's why they say that those who want to fuse are confused. Right? If you're thinking that I'm going to fuse into the Lord, fuse, right? Or merge, I am confused. Right? So the Mayavadi, so-called Mayavadi teacher, are trying to teach something which they themselves have not realized. Okay? And for the practitioner, But the practitioner, you are telling that when, we just go there, you just merge, and then there is nothing after that, you just merge, right? On the other hand, when you talk about a bhakta who is doing devotional service, so that bhakta goes to a higher level of devotional service as indicated in 1.2.11. Vadanti tat das, right? Dhammeti parmatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. So there are 3 stages or 3 phases or 3 aspects in which you can realize God. And so those who are just going to stay at the Brahmavadi stage are not going to go to the higher level of Bhagwan. When you start looking at Bhagwan and you start engaging in devotional service, that is when you get the joy of performing devotional service, right? Recently, what was the festival we had recently?
Holi.
Gaur Purnima.
Gaur Purnima, right? So did you fast?
Yes, Mother.
And why were you so happy fasting? That is
It is Krishna's birthday.
because you are fasting for Krishna, right? So it's a different joy. It's a different joy that even one of the worst kind of feeling that we can have in this material world, and that is the feeling of hunger. We go through that in such a happy manner, and we don't even feel about it. There was Ekadashi recently, right? You're doing it for God. But if you're not fasting, and if dinner is served late for half an hour, we are so miserable because we are doing it for ourselves.
I'm always happy when I fast for Ekadashi. I don't know why.
Well, that is the reason. So there is a joy in engaging in devotional service, right? That's why Bhakta is always very happy. Even in any circumstances, the Bhakta is very, very happy because he's got a nice relationship. Now, the Mayavadis, on the other hand, are teaching you to go merge, and that's the way for you to get over. By the way, you are actually God as you're suffering. You just realize, go merge, everything is fine. And however, they teach you 5, that you can go and worship 5 devtas. There's Krishna, there is Ram, I think, there's Vishnu and Surya, Agni, something like that. 5. Ganesha, I think, right? So 5 you worship and you sing. They do bhajans, beautiful. They will sing Govinda, a lot of Krishna bhajan, musical, everything they will do, right? And what is the ultimate aim? Ultimate aim of all that is that you will finally realize that you are God, and then you can stop all this devotional service that you were doing. On the other hand, for a bhakta, what does the bhakta do? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kanchati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labde param. He continues to, he engages in devotional service, and then he continues. So when you are going to go to Golok Vrindavan, because that's what Prabhupada said in the purport, that if you are worshipping Krishna, then you will go to Krishna's planet, right? We saw that last time. Yanti deva vipta devan pritrin yanti prativita bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti maryajino bimam, right? So those who worship me come to me. So you are going to go to Krishna Loka. And what are you going to do there in Krishna Loka?
Serve Krishna.
Serve Krishna.
Yeah, right? So the bhakti for us does not stop as it stops for them. Right? So for them, they are just using. So for them, Krishna is just a tool that you can use and then you can throw it away. How bad is that? Right? You used, where is the gratitude? Where is the gratitude? Right? After all, you prayed to one of the 5 or all 5 of them, and they brought you to a state that you realize you are God. If there is some such thing like that, then shouldn't you be grateful? Shouldn't you at least tell them also to merge? Right? So it is very dangerous to be a Mayavadi. I mean, it's sinful, actually. It's the biggest sin to think that you are God. Right? So we should continue to be with the higher taste. And then I also talked in the beginning about Brahmanandi versus a Mayavadi, right? Mayavadi think they are God, and that God is impersonal, right? And Brahmanandi says that I'm not God. There is a God, but that God is impersonal, doesn't have a personality. Okay, so keep that in mind, the difference between a Brahmanandi and a Mayavadi. Okay, Mayavadis are dangerous. Brahmanandis still are, okay, because they have this concept of bhakti. They are doing devotional service to something which doesn't have a form. So if they come in contact with a devotee of the Lord, there are chances they will also become bhakta. But try to make a Mayavadi into a bhakta, you'll have a lot of resistance. Unless you are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who converted whom into a bhakta? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Right? So, unless something...
Also, Mataji, he converted him, no?
Haridas Thakur was a Muslim. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was also converted.
Right? So, so this is very important, right? And then you say that we in our devotional service route, we talk about rasa, right? Shantras. What are the other rasas? Shantras is one. Vatsalya. How does it start? What is the gradation? Lowest is Shantras. Above that is? Dasyaras.
Sakyaras, Dasyaras.
No, not Sakyaras, Dasyaras. Lower is Dasya. Above Dasya is Sakya. Above Sakya is Vatsalya. Above Vatsalya is Madhurya. Right? So these Mayavadis, they will also say that you can have that kind of a rasa with this God who is actually you. And so you will first taste Shant rasa, which is awe and veneration. Then you can go and do dasya bhav. Dasya, you can do service. How do you do service to impersonals? Beyond me. But anyway, and then you will raise higher, and then you will become a friend. Then you'll go higher, become a parent, and then you become higher, and then you start, like you have to, not exactly you will become. What they're saying is that your devotional service to this impersonal thing, in your attempt to becoming that person, should go through these phases. First phase is you serve. Second phase is when you do and reach the climax of serving, then you will graduate to becoming a friend. And as you grow in friendship with the Lord, you will graduate to Vatsalya Rasa. As you become higher and higher in Vatsalya Rasa, then you will graduate to Madhurya Rasa. And when you go to Madhurya Rasa, at one stage of Madhurya Rasa, you will realize that you are God. Right? So all kinds of things they will tell you. The Mayavadi. So we have to be very, 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 very careful about, preaching, and they might not even tell you that what they're telling you, like mantras, soham, like we tell you it's a chant Hare Krishna, which is devotional service. Lord, please give me service to you. So soham, what is the meaning of soham? Anybody doesn't understand Sanskrit will just say soham is fine. Let's look like a nice word. Yeah, I'll name my child Soham. It's such a cute name. But so aham. So I am that too. What is I am that too? I am also that God. I am God. I am God. So when you are chanting this, you can just imagine how much of damage that happens, right? In this one. Again, on the other hand, those who are Brahmanandis, they just want to worship the Lord, but they think the Lord is impersonal. So then Arjuna asked that question in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. He says that, Evam satata yuktaye, opening sentence, Evam satata yuktaye bhaktasvam parupasite, ye chapi Aksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga uttama. He says that of the devotees, right? The one who serve you, Krishna, the one who's standing and talking to him in Kurukshetra, those who worship you, or the ones who worship you as an unmanifested, impersonal person. So then Krishna immediately in the second verse of chapter 12 says that, those who worship me are the best. But then he says that, but those who worship my impersonal form, right? They will also come to me, but after a very long time. But those who worship me, bhavami na chirat parta, that's not in very soon. Chir means long time, na chirat means not a long time. So very soon they will realize me with Krishna. And then he goes and says that, for those who have got a body, like you and I have got a body, right? And how many things around you don't have a body? Tell me. How many things around you that you see don't have a shape?
Lots of things.
Yes, tell me how many. What doesn't have a shape? Water doesn't have a shape. Okay.
Air.
Air doesn't have a shape. Okay. You said a lot of things. Tell me. There are not many lot of things.
Thought
right?
process.
Which one?
Thought process. Thought
No,
process.
I'm just saying what the things that you see with your eyes. Right?
Okay.
Water seems to be the only one, right? I mean, air also we can't see. Right?
Fire also doesn't have a shape.
Fire, yeah. But at least fire has a shape, right? The flame has a shape. It's not shapeless. The shape will keep changing, but it does have a formation, right? So anyway, even if you want to count fire, count it, you come to 3. 4,800,000. Yeah. 4,800,000 species of life have got a form.
8,400,000.
Yeah.
Even amoeba doesn't have a shape, definite shape.
Definite shape. It has a shape all the time.
It changes all the time.
It changes.
But it has a shape. So America has got more shape.
Let's claim, yeah.
Yeah, it keeps changing.
What did Kiran say?
I said amoeba.
Amoeba.
One-celled animal, protozoa.
Your son will tell you what is amoeba and what is amoebic dysentery. Yeah, so you see that there is form. So that's why Krishna is saying that because you have a form, then klesho adhik taras tesham avyak as. So he says it's very difficult for those who have a body to worship something that doesn't have a body. Right? Because everything that you see around you has a body. You look at this phone, this is a body. Anything that you look around, you go to the kitchen and bodies, forms. So you're surrounded by form, you yourself, are in a form, encapsulated in a form. And of course, the soul has a spiritual form. So it is very difficult for us to do that. So that's why in this particular verse, Krishna is saying that those people are abuddhaya. Those people who go for and try to worship the impersonal form of the Lord, they are abuddhaya. They don't have,
unintelligent.
They are intelligent. On the other hand, the good use of intelligence is those who actually worship the Lord. Right? So, and even if you're trying to worship the Lord as impersonal, as a good thing, you won't get that. Ultimately, some bhakta will come and take you to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because for all the efforts that you have done in devotional service, Krishna will reward you. Krishna is not like that he's, he won't give you. He's very fair. So for all that you give, he will make those arrangements for you to be able to progress in devotional service. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti shabdate, right? So that's how you will progress. For example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and brought in the progress of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, right? And all the 60,000 disciples that he had, like that. Okay.
Mataji, I wanted to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Can this concept be compared to the Nirankaris and the idol worshippers?
Nirankaris are, I don't know.
They say that there's no akar of God.
Nirakaris, right? Not Nirankari. Nirakaris, yeah. Yeah, so Nirakaris, I was saying, are of two types, right? Impersonalist are of two types. One are who Brahmanandis, who say that God doesn't have a form, but they worship God and they think there is a difference between God and them, and they are on the right track. The other impersonalists are those who think God doesn't have a form and I am God. That is where the problem is.
Okay.
That is where the problem is.
Thank you.
Idol worship, right? Idol worship, what exactly is idol worship? People used to look at Indians and then say that they are doing idol worship, right? But it's not an idol. Have you ever seen in any of our books from ISKCON the use of the word idol?
No.
No. What's the word you use?
Deities.
Deities, right? But there's a difference between a deity and idol, right? A deity is where you see that so-called statue, but it is God himself who manifests in this material form. So sometimes when people come to the temple and they're looking at the deity of Krishna and they're wondering, where in this statue is Krishna? No, that statue that you think is a statue is actually Krishna, who has manifested himself in the form of a deity, because you can't, your mind goes here and there, you need to engage your eyes. So
like while you're doing yoga also, they tell you to keep at least a lamp or a candle or something in front of you and concentrate on it.
Concentrate,
So that is one way of concentrating. You're concentrating on the things which Krishna has made. So ultimate is Krishna. He is the supreme. So why not go to Krishna directly and meditate on him?
Absolutely. Bhakti yoga is a direct process, right? And when you are in bhakti yoga, then you will worship Krishna, you listen to his words, and then you will listen to his words in a scrutinizing manner, right? So immediately as we come to chapter number 24, and he talks about they're unintelligent and they are saying this and that, and the Mayavadis say that the God comes in touch with modes of material nature, and then, but we don't segregate even the mode of material, even the material nature, we don't segregate that from Krishna. Right? Bhumi apo analo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara ityame bhinna prakriti ashtata. We read in the same chapter 7.4 that they are his energies. Right? Devi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. He's saying that Maya is also Maya energy. And Devi she's transcendental energy. She controls this material energy, but that material energy is also not different. And actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam, when it comes to then what is Maya? What is Maya? I thought this material world is Maya. And now Prabhupada comes and says, no, that is also the truth. There are three truths. There is Jiva, and then there is Paramatma, God, and then there is this material nature, Prakriti. So I thought this was Maya. No, that is not Maya. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna explains in Chatushoki Bhagavatam to Brahma, is that he says that anything that is not connected to Krishna is Maya. So that's why if you see Prabhupada, he used a microphone or dictaphone. Was it not material thing that he was using? He was using a material thing, but he was using it to connect to Krishna, to dictate all these things, right? So anything can become Maya if you disconnect it from Krishna. So the main thing is try to use anything and everything and connect everything with Krishna. Otherwise, so when you throw away things, when you throw away material things, saying that, oh, this has got nothing to do with Krishna, then you are not very intelligent. Right? An intelligent person takes up even the material world, even the material things, and uses them in the service of the Lord. For example, Vaisheshika Prabhu gives such a good example, such a nice incident that he talks about, that once he was out on book distribution, and he gave a book to a hippie couple. And the hippie couple were there, they were nicely, both of them were smoking, and he stopped them and showed the Bhagavad-gita to them. So they showed a slight inclination and a slight interest in the book. And so he gave them the book. And then when he gives the book, you always ask them for some donation, because when you give some donation, you get connected to the parampara that was responsible for passing down of this information or knowledge to you. So unless you first offer your gratitude by way of giving up something that's precious to you, that knowledge will not sink into you. So you always ask them, even if it's a beggar, he'll ask them to give some money. And so he asked them to give some money, and the both of them said, we don't have any money. So then he asked them that, what about this lighter that you have? So the guy gave that lighter to him, gave away the lighter. So you can imagine a hippie who has to smoke, gives away his lighter to Krishna. It's a big sacrifice. Then we, who have got thousands of dollars in the bank, and take out 108, and we think we have done a lot of good for Krishna. And then even today, he uses that lighter, that same lighter that hippie gave him. He uses that lighter to
Light the diya.
Light the diya when he does the worship. So who's getting the sukriti? That hippie. So that's why we say that, when you come in contact with a devotee, amazing things will happen to you, knowingly or unknowingly, or whether you know it or not. This is how it happens. Okay. So on that note, I'll take your leave unless there are more questions. Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Kripasindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Shraddha
Thank you so
Mataji.
much, Mataji.
Always.
Mataji.
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.